So we are back. We are back. We are back. We are back. First off, shout out to Gold Professor. Gonna hit you with the 9 laws of self-govern. Law number 3: applied selfishness. I always talk about this, and shout out to Gold P for doing the 9 laws. I told Gold P you need to do a community post about that. Put the 9 laws up. Let people look at them. Let people gather their thoughts. I think I'm gonna do that on my channel. Go ahead and get one of those posts set up so people can, always refer to that. Hit them with the 9 laws of self-government. You know, when it come down to it, a lot of people got to look at self. You know, you doing stuff for everybody else, and I keep trying to refer back to that just to let people understand that you're on the line. You know, if you can't do what you got to do for yourself, how can you help others? So it actually starts with you. You know, that big old thing that they have, happy wife, happy life. I don't agree to that because if that man not happy, how can he provide for that wife? So self. I'm going for it. I'm letting people know self. You know, if I can't be a good version of me, how can I help my wife to be a good version of her? How can I help my sons to be good versions of them in becoming men? How can I help my daughter be a good version of herself to becoming a woman? You know, it all starts with the self. A lot of people lack, on themselves. You don't bet on yourself. You got a business you want to start. You want to do. I'm gonna use this emphasis right now. Where Four Corner Custom is in the building. He does it all for himself. He got his printing business. He talked about how he was in the trucking industry. Man, I bet you from coming off that road, man, you feel good. Like, like it's like another wave of energy. Man, when I came off the road and started doing local runs, because I wanted to be there for my kids. That was the main thing, you know. But also, I wanted to give myself some healing, man. All them years of being over the road, you know, I just I needed that for myself. That was a good thing. It was more motivation to do it for my kids, but it was even better, man. I did it for myself. Just like with business, starting business. Man, I've started several business, and it wasn't even a failure. A couple of business transactions I did, it was mainly with partners, you know, and one of them I did for myself. Actually, still going now. I just don't really do it as much because I'm transitioning. I'm transitioning to something else. But mainly, man, when I started saying I'm gonna do this stuff for myself, my business was working, successful, making money. Like one of the guys I used to work, I was doing some plumbing work, and there's a guy that does a guy that does HVAC. And so the biggest thing with him doing HVAC, he's like, man, when it come down to it, hey, I don't I don't have to advertise because my work speaks for itself. I get so many referrals from people, you know. Frugal Mama in the building. She started her LLC for her channel. She worked for herself. She has her job like me. I still have a 9 to 5. That's one thing I don't think I'm gonna ever steer away from is my 9 to 5 until I get to a certain point where I can walk away comfortably. You know, because I like that guaranteed money and having my own job right. I mean my own business right now. It's not to the point where it's guaranteed the way I want it to be. I could be making $10,000 a month, but it might not be where I want it to be. I'm not making 10,000 a month, but just saying at least if I did, if it's not where I want to be, I'm not walking away. So with that being said, it's to a point where you have to look at life and start figuring things out. You know, work on you. I've been pushing people, and it's one of the biggest things I'm gonna start pushing for this new year. People pulling up their credit. Pull up your credit. See what's on your credit. There's a lot of ways you can dispute stuff on your credit report. Pull up your credit. Get your credit better. You got apps like Self. I got to do a little more research on Self, but from what I've been seeing, you can put a loan for yourself. You set it to a certain amount. Basically, what you're doing is you're paying them the money just like you do a bank, but in return, they're taking the money, probably doing something with it. Flipping it, putting it in the market, doing something, and then they just give you the money back. And now you got like a $5,000 inquiry on your credit that you've been paying off and paying on time. And hey, they're taking the money and put it in that account like a savings, put it to the side, and then when you come back and get it at the end, hey, they done made interest off that money. It's a lot of little tricks of the trades that we don't know about, because that's when it comes down to about that finance. A lot of people are not in the finance. A lot of people don't know the financial game. Shout out to Alonzo Hall. Oh man, this weekend is gonna be crazy. We're gonna be talking about money. Dr. Dunbar, um, me and Alonzo Hall gonna be on his channel, and Dr. Dunbar is going to we just gonna do a little money talk, for the new year. There was something that we've been banking on last year. We want to get it in, and just gonna go ahead and do it this way for the new year. Um, I think I don't know if I might be starting off or Alonzo might be starting off, but one of us gonna start off first. Probably do a little 30-minute, 15-minute, and then the big where we have the big powwow where everybody get together at Dr. Dunbar's channel. You know, and that's a good thing to promote his channel as well. And everybody, come over there, listen to the dialogue, see what we're talking about. But get back into it. Self care. A lot of people need to work on themselves. You know, I always see this video on Instagram. It's like a soundbite to where the guy says, you know, I don't care about nobody messing with me. I don't care about nobody dealing with me because I deal with myself. So when it come down to it, basically coming to the point where don't need don't need friends, don't need family. As long as I got myself, I'm good. And that's like the biggest thing when it comes to a lot of us not actually understanding that, the environment that we create is coming from us, you know, and to do better for ourselves, create more comfort for us, put in the work. A lot of people, that's like I say always about the Bible. And I've always kind of pushed this to a lot of people because a lot of people don't understand this verse in the Bible. Faith without work is dead. You pray, but you don't do anything. Like they say, that's the catalyst when you put that work in there. That's the catalyst to get that prayer moving. That's the catalyst of your faith showing that you know it's going to work. You know, people pray, oh, I want to win this award or I want to win this championship, but then you just go and don't do nothing. How many people win? I want to win this champion. I want to be the champ. Both of y'all praying. Who's gonna put in the most work to get that prayer answered? Think of this as the finals and a one-on-one duel. A lot of people know UFC. You got two people fighting in UFC. Both of them champions. Both of them got the same record. As my coach always say, who got the biggest fight? What dog got the biggest fight? That's where it boils down to. And a lot of people got to have that fight in them to actually get stuff done. Like I say, you can pray all you want, but if you're not putting in the work, I said this on the last part, where you want to go back to school, you want to, Pray about going back to school. You getting all these letters in the mail, and they telling you they're offering you tuition and this and that. But oh, I don't want to go to this college. I heard this college is this, and I heard this college is that. Then you get other offers from other colleges. Just all of a sudden they start coming in the mail. You want a certain college, but you ain't even applied for. You want to go to school, but you ain't even took the time into making sure if you want to go to that school, what are they offering you? Some schools you go to, they have degree programs that you like, trades and stuff that you can go for there, certificates that you can go and get, but it's not going to effectively do for your career. You know, there might be certain stipulations within that career field. If you go to a certain job, they need out of that, degree, and you didn't take that up in school. Do your homework. That's why I told you you got to work on self. A lot of people got to come to the realization when you dealing with the self, you got to motivate yourself. Ain't nobody gonna be there. You don't have a cheerleader in your corner, so you got to cheer yourself on, man. You got to be happy. You got to be running around doing it. You got to be a little conceited at times. You got to walk with a little pride more than other people because you want to get this stuff done. You got to put in that work. No, that's why I say we got to get these credit reports pulled. We got to see what our credit look like. No, I keep pushing on everybody to get a house. You know, get a house, buy your house. Renting is cool, but over time, that rent's gonna go up. Buy you a house. You know, get a house. That's even when it come down to it, you can pass that house on down to your kids. I was just telling my cousin about this crazy video of this girl. It was probably a little skit. She came to the house, hit the ring on doorbell. She had a one suitcase, and she rung the bell. She said, "Hey, mama. Hey, daddy. I'm back. I'm ready to stay in the child's place. I'll be doing my chores, washing the dishes, cleaning the floors, coming home at a certain time, and keeping my room clean." She said, "Being an adult is hard work. I didn't know it was gonna be this hard. I'm ready to stay in the child's place." And me and my cousin was dying laughing, you know, because my thing was when I left, I was good, you know. I I was prepared to, do what need to be done. I've already had that initial, understanding that I gotta pay bills, I gotta do these things. I've been doing that since I was young, you know. I was paying my own cell phone. Back in the day when they had prepaid, I got me my prepaid card. I bought my own cell phone, paid my own bill. I was doing my taxes since 15. You know, my grandma was retired, so I had to go do my own taxes. When I did my taxes since I was able to work at 15, you know, putting in the work. I started learning these things. My grandma went to a hospital one time. I actually paid all the bills in the house from my credit card. I mean, from her debit card. Took the debit card, took all the bills. Didn't even know she had money in the account. I know she get a check from her retirement, so it was first of the month. Took all the bills, laid them out on the counter. I mean, on the table. Went, got my laptop, logged into online banking, paid all the bills online. It was one bill that I didn't pay was the mortgage. Because it's different setup for that. You had to have the information. She didn't get us. She didn't have a statement come in the mail. Well, she did probably, but I don't know why I didn't pay it. It was some reason why I didn't pay it. I think I needed more access to something or something else. But everything else I set up online banking. And she was like, "Wow, how you do that? I need to start doing that." Oh, that's nice, but I don't like computers. You know, self. I'm telling you, learning this stuff, retaining the knowledge. Like I said, I was good when I was ready to go. Dr. Dunbar in the building. I was just talking about you earlier. You know, I have this Saturday. Everybody stay tuned, and I'm gonna be promoting this throughout the week. Like I said, between me and Alonzo, one of us gonna come on. Probably a little 15 minutes. The other guy's gonna do about 15 minutes, and then everybody's gonna get together, make sure everybody go over Dr. Dunbar's channel, and gonna have a discussion. Like I say, motivating yourself sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you got to get motivated through other people. Sometimes you got a video that'll motivate you. You know, a lot of times it's just you need that one push. When you at the gym or you even start working out, you don't want to work out. You get that one push that can, get you to get in there and go work out. It might, I might see a lady walk by. I'm like, oh snap, she going to the gym. Man, let me get in there and let me go to the gym too. Let me start working out. Man, I want to look good. Maybe I could talk to this woman. Whatever it takes, some women might have that same motivation when she see a nice man walking the gym. You know, she might want to start that business and she's hesitant, or that man is hesitant, and then you might be on your phone scrolling through Instagram, YouTube, or whatever, Facebook, and you might see a video, and the guys, I made this much money, I did this. That's not really good. But then when you hear that one where that guy said, "Man, I was down and out, man, I was down to my last, man," and what got me was when I fooled around and set that tone, man. When I just so happened to turn around and see, like, it was a sign, and you like, man, this video tripping. Let me go ahead and skip this. And when that guy said, man, when I started that business, it changed my life. I had more freedom. I could do stuff with my family. I could set my own schedule. I work when I want to work. But the more work I put in, the more money I make. That's when you start looking at yourself. Okay, you know, man, I started selling. I started making these products. I started buying these products and flipping them. Okay, you know, that's like one guy I talked to. He said, man, I was in college trying to figure it out. Fooled around, got out of college, got a job, started working this job, didn't really like it. Man, sitting up there loading something up on a truck for a guy, and the guy was like, "What's up, man? Man, I see you in here, man. You always dragging, man, like you ain't got no energy." Yeah, man, tired. Making excuses. And he's like, "Man, hey, man, you look pretty responsible. Why you don't drive trucks? Why you don't work for yourself?" That's what I do. Gave him that motivation. Look, man, look, this load right here, I'm making $1,000 to deliver this. He was like, that little bit of stuff right there? Yeah, man, $1,000. $1,000. Shout out to the Harris. Like I said, I don't do too many shout outs. I kind of stay focused on the message. Shout out to the Harris family for coming in. I got to get back over there on the channel on Thursdays. I got to get back over there. I be having I try to get there, get to work early. That's why I be cutting out a lot of my night YouTubes that I be watching. You know, so but I'm gonna swing back around there, man. But yeah, like I said, this guy he just was like, "What? You getting $1,000 for this?" He's like, "Yeah, but see, you got to factor in." He said, "Once I drop this load, I go get another load. It might be $200." He said, "So I done made $1,200 just on them two loads right there." He said, "I gotta pay gas. I gotta put money aside for maintenance." He's like, "Man, it's not hard. A lot of people think running a truck is hard." He's like, "Man, systems in place." Once he told him that, dude was just at work one day It was like, man, I really don't even want to be here. Went, called dude up, asked him, put him in line. The hardest thing he had to do was buy a truck. But this was the easiest thing he did. He went and rented a truck. I mean, he leased a truck through one of these companies like Penske or something like that for a year, see if he really liked it. And then it was on go. By the time he had stacked all that money up, he had enough to buy a truck. He was off to the races. He's like, man, this is the best thing I ever did. He said, man, so it might be some week I want to go take a trip. I ain't got to clock in. He said, I'm contracted, so I don't pick up the same routes all the time. I don't work for this company. I go on a load board, pull my loads prior to or same day. So if I don't pull no loads, I'm just not working that day. He said, I might have some companies that have my number that they know I'm so reliable, they call me and they prefer me to drop their loads for them. But if I'm not working that day, that's just what it is. You got women that do hair. You know, you got women that make little trinkets, necklace, nice little t-shirt business, stuff like that. Four Corners, Joy, Be the Difference, making t-shirts, providing that service. You know, some people might start off say, man, I don't want to do this. This might not be my passion, but at the same time, that comfort of having your own business, doing what you want to do, setting. I mean, don't get it twisted. Having your own business, you're going to be putting in some work, but it's not like the whole thing to where, I get up, man, I got to get here at 8 o'clock. I got to clock out. Sometimes having your own business, you're on 24 hours. You got to set that schedule for yourself because there's some people they'll work 24 hours. Even when they sleep, they getting up. Oh yeah, I got to process this paperwork in the morning. I got as soon as your feet hit the ground, you already moved. You dreaming about work. I remember the first time I started this company, I was literally dreaming that I was driving, dropping stuff off. That like dropping people. That I'm talking about. When I say I gotta keep up with chat, but like that was my whole thing. I was literally dreaming about all the stuff that I'm doing the next day. So when I got up, I was already on go. I remember everything from the night before. I had my notes set up, had, all my paperwork that needed to be emailed or faxed that morning, whatever. All that stuff was set up. So boom, pushing that, grabbing me something to eat, getting ready to hit the door. I got my phone set up, like what's his name? Kevin Gates. There are two phones. You know, I was having two phones for a minute. Having two phones for a minute because I needed to make sure I got all this stuff out. I made sure anybody who I needed to contact needed to be contact. Like that was the whole thing. Like I had my wife there, but it was something that I wanted to do for myself. So I always motivated myself. Hey, you gotta keep it going. This is a good thing. You know, once you get this thing set up and running, it's gonna go on autopilot. That's when you get to relax. It was getting to the point where I had an autopilot. I was relaxing more. One waking up, I'm talking about first first couple of weeks, it was dire. I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning, running my routes, ending the day about I would say 10 to 11 o'clock. One hardly getting no sleep. And I was like, yeah, I can't keep doing this. So I started setting things up to where I can, get everything set up. Hold on, I gotta. Trying to make sure everybody's set up in here. But yeah, when it come down to it, like it was a go. I had to work, get everything set up. My wife started helping me out doing with the paperwork. She started making sure, everything was being, ran through, had a lot of, things I needed done. And so she just came in and started helping. That's like my wife, setting up her business. I would help her set up so many different business, but she wasn't, finishing the whole thing on, the process. So this one new business that she's got, she's trying to do. I told her I'm not helping her with nothing, and she got so salty. You know, I designed the logo for her. Then I gave her the logo. I said I'm not doing nothing else, and she was like, "Oh, I just." She's like, "That's the motivation." I said, "You gotta do it for yourself. You gotta research. Do it all yourself." So the more she started researching and doing it, now she's on point. Now she got the ball rolling. And with her getting the ball rolling, now I'm, coming in a little bit, checking on things, and now I'm starting to help her a little. Not a lot, because like I told her, all the other times I helped you did so much stuff, you didn't even get to the next step, you know. There was always a reason why you didn't finish the process. So now, if you don't finish the process, it's no worries for me because, you know, I, I ain't help you do anything, you know. And then it got to the point where she was like, "Well, I got to get it done." I keep talking about. Hey, I always tell her, "Don't talk about it, be about it." You know, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But don't say you want to do something and commit to it, then quit. You know. So she said, "Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, knock this out. I'm gonna get this done." Like I said, the self. No, nobody's gonna literally motivate you to do a lot of this stuff other than you. You know, I can literally motivate you to be a better. I could be a motivational speaker, this and that, motivate you to be happy, up and running. But then when you walk out that door and you don't do what you say you're supposed to do, it all comes back to you. You could be motivated by any and everybody, but you have to get in there and do that work. You have to, if you're gonna start a business, it's on you to start that business. If you're gonna be more productive at your job, it's on you. Your boss can give you like 5 raises. Be like, man, we giving 5 raises out here, and we need this and that done, so we giving 5 raises. We're trying to make sure, you know, you guys are gonna do this, you guys are gonna be this way. So we're giving out about 5 raises. There you go, right there. You getting 5 raises, and all you need to do is just be motivated to what? Get out there and do what you're supposed to do. Get out there and do what you say you're gonna do. But when it come down to it, hey, like, come on, self-explanatory. You got to do for you. You got to put in the work. Company give you all these raises. They'll sit here and do everything to put you in the right mind, a frame of doing certain things. But in the end, it's on you. It is on you. If you don't want to put in the work, what you're not gonna put in that work. You know, companies will be like, man, we motivating employees to do this, so we're gonna start giving out bonuses if you do this. We're gonna start giving out bonuses if you do that. Guess what? They can give out all the bonuses in the world. If a lot of people don't really just put in that work, then they'll just be giving out bonuses. A lot of companies try to motivate people to do things, to do better. You know, performance, performance payouts, say the least. My job does that. I'm actually on contract. I'm technically I'm half in the door, half out the door. I have a contract set up to where it's like a percentage. So I get an hourly rate and a percentage rate, like commission almost. So it's to the point to where I make more money than the guys on hourly, whose company. I make way more money than the guys on company. You know, when they first offered me the job hourly, I was like, that's not enough money for me. I've been driving for this long. That's not enough money. I walked away. And they told me, well, we got another thing that we can, put you on that'd be better. So I said, I'm listening. And when they told me the percentages, I said, it's kind of low. But they was like, well, over time, they get you with that hook and reel, but they didn't know I was hooking and reeling too. So like right now, I got probably what 15% now and more than what they was offering when I came in through the door because I told them if I do this work and I do that, like, hey, I should be getting paid more. And then what really hit them over the head was when I was working for this other company, and I would always park that company's truck at their facility. And then one day, one of the guys seen me jump in this company, the other company I was working for on the side, their vehicle and drive away. And they came and approached me and was like, "What are you doing? What are you?" I was like, "Well, I'm just keeping my options open because this company paid me a little more money than y'all, and I just work part time with them, so they end up paying me more money because, like I said, if you work good, it speaks for itself, you know, and that's the thing with a lot of people, you know, you gotta put more into you, like you gotta have more pride in what you do. If you work, if this your job, be a little more prideful about it. Start, you know, coming in a little early. Start getting your stuff situated. Start making sure like you're being represented a little better at your job. And that's the thing with a lot of people. You go to a job, this is your livelihood. You know, sometimes let's say you get into an accident or some, situations happen. With the company always looking at you as being a decent employee, sometimes they'll bypass certain things that you've done or other things that critically they'll fire somebody for because you're such a good employee. You know, I'm gonna get ready to jump off of here, but I remember I was like at Six Flags. This was my first job I ever did out here in Georgia, and I always worked double shift. I was working the rides, and they never had a problem on me. I ended up getting to be supervisor at that ride, and like it was cool. Like working hard, making sure stuff need to be done. So one night, I think it was around the fourth, I was driving the go karts and drove one of the go karts through the lane and had hit like 10 or some go karts flying through the lane. And so the guy wrote me up and he was like, technically, I didn't want to write you up because I had to write the other guy up. And he was like, I honestly think you would have never did that if that other guy wasn't out there doing it because you were behind him. And it was just at the last minute that guy cut me off and he zoomed in front of me. But we both, just doing stuff that was reckless, but we're young. I was 15 years old, other guy was 16. We were just out there playing. We didn't know the extent of any damage we would do to them things. But the point of it was, just having fun. And he looked at me being a little more mature for my age, being a little more responsible because of the way I carried myself when we was at work. I would always smile with the customers. I would always, work at the cash register, make sure my count was right every single time. Never had an off count. It was funny with that, but never had an off count. I always took the money, gave the proper change. If a person was short a dollar, I didn't sell them a ticket. If the person was like, keep the change, I'll just okay, cool. The guy in front of you, he had $2 extra. I could take it off your Right. My draw always stayed. I never had a overdraw. 'Cause like I said, I knew just balancing it. Even if I was the guy gave me extra $2, I could take the extra $2 and put it in my pocket. But they had cameras over there, so it was a way of me doing it that benefited. My draw always stayed the same and helped other people out at the process. When it come down to it, like I said, any job I take, my son was just telling me this. We was talking about this last night, and I was telling him about jobs, and he was like, "Have you ever been fired?" I told my son, "I've never been fired. Never. You hear me? Never been fired. Every job I left, I quit. Every job. There's no job I've ever got fired. And not because I think the job's gonna fire me and I quit first. No, I always stand on that, being a productive employee, when you're at the job. Because that's the thing. This is your job. This what represents you. This what holds down your family, that holds down your bills. If you don't have a family, it holds down your bills. If you don't like the job, don't do the work. That's my whole thing. Even with family, you know, if you don't want to be a father, then don't have kids. But that goes along with the process. You know, even when I got with my wife, I talked to this guy yesterday. I was telling him, you know, my wife had kids. If I didn't want to deal with them kids, then I shouldn't deal with her. That's the process of things. A lot of people gotta be more mature and be adult about things. Run the process all comes from self. It's the process. If you don't, if you don't want to do certain things, don't put yourself in a situation to be responsible for certain things. And so that's the key thing. You know, Working on yourself makes you a better what person, individual, employee, owner, anything. And I'm gonna keep pushing this because more people are coming in the door. Pull your credit. Everybody needs to pull their credit, whether go to Credit Karma or something. See what's on your credit and see what you got to do to fix it. You know, K Business Podcast. I already said you got about $800 on there. Go do a couple of door dashes. Got your car? Do a couple of door dashes. You know, do a couple of things if you got a car to do that. I mean, the funny thing is, I told you about the guy that was doing uh, Uber Eats on a scooter. They have it to where you can do a bike on Uber Eats, and the guy was doing Uber Eats on a scooter. You know, that's even like the one of my other pods before this. I told you about the guy. He made a tree house in his backyard. $350 a night. Rent out a tree house in his backyard. Say the least. It's ways of making money. You got stuff on your credit. Go ahead and get that stuff off. You know, if you gotta get a little side hustle, like I said, apps galore. I've done so many streams on different apps that can pay you. You don't want to be hand to hand with these customers in your car, delivering them on Uber, Lyft, one of the main ones, main two. Do like the food. Do DoorDash. Do Grubhub. Do a la carte where you pick up groceries, take it to the house. I told people to invest in the cart. You invest in the cart and go ahead out there, take that cart, put those groceries in, take it to the house. You know, there's all kind of apps. I mean, even if that you don't even want to do that, there's apps to where you can sell stuff. Your Facebook Marketplace, what's it, Macari, Postmark, you got eBay still that's relevant still. You got OfferUp. You got stuff in your house you already don't even use. You bought, you don't like it. Clean it up. If you still got the original box, cool. If not, sell it. Say you got a new printer. The old printer works good. Buy you some ink for the printer. Sell it with it. It's more motivation because they ain't got to go look for the ink. They getting a printer with the ink. It's up to date, but you just needed a better one. Sell it. The most you're gonna pay out of pocket, probably $10, $20. Hey, even let's say you spend $50 for some good ink and all this stuff. You end up selling that printer for $100. There you go. I mean, but the way printers are so cheap now, you know, I think printers are like $80. So you just have to end up just not buying the ink and just sell the printer like that unless you get a deal on the ink for like $10 or some $10, $20. Because you got to make your profit somewhere, you know. Like I said, it's different ways of making money. If you don't have a car, there you go. You can have people meet you at a certain place, you know. Honestly, I told my cousin that. I said, well, I told his wife. I said she wants to sell a dress for about it's $150 dress. She want to sell it for $50. I was like, I'll sell it for 75. It still got the tag on there. I'll sell it for 75. That's half the price. But she wanted to sell it for 50. She's like, yeah, it still got the tag on there and everything. Okay, I said sell it for 50. She's like, oh, we gotta meet at the police station. I said, look, the likeliness of someone robbing you for a $50 dress that you shouldn't even be selling to that person in the first place. And I understand most people on there scamming, but most of the time it ain't too many people robbing nobody for $50. You know, you selling probably $1,500 in Jordans or some sneaker trade. You might be a little pressed for that. Then you want to meet somewhere other than that. But just to dress, like I bought stuff from Offer Up all the time. I told her I was like, take your husband with you if need be. I don't think nobody gonna press you for a $50 dress. And she was like, yeah, I just want to be safe. I said, well, take your husband with you. He's a big guy. He looks kind of fear to a degree. But like I keep saying, man, go back to this. Work on yourself. Pull your credit. Motivate yourself. Do things for you. Start taking things serious. If you want to get a business, go ahead and start it. Stop procrastinating. You know, um, I was procrastinating about this, but I'm gonna go ahead and get my LLC for my podcast. For my YouTube. See, we here LLC. You know, and that's the thing. I'm already to a point to where I could just do this for fun. I can do this to motivate people, help. Like I said, I don't have to have 100,000 people in the chat. I can have a strong 10, a strong 5. As long as the message is getting out and people are listening and they taking heed, start fixing their credit. That's all I'm worrying about. You know, like I always say, everything ain't for everybody. Some people might get motivated different. But saying the least, I'm about to jump off of here. Till next time, you know what I always say. We here, and shout out to the family. We gone.